Hello friends, I'm Emily, aka Drawn in the Fog. Welcome to this video where I'll be giving you a tour of my 2024 Witchtober pieces. This is actually take two. I got about halfway through doing the tour and then realised I hadn't pressed record on my phone. Okay, so I started this sketchbook last year for last year's October challenge when I did Furry Little Peach's Peachtober. I went through her prompt list using Poscas and pencils. If you'd like to see a proper tour of those, check out the video at the end of this one. So for Witchtober this year, I wanted to do black ink outlines with alcohol markers for the colouring in. This was my original sketch for day one, which was Cozy Witch. I then redid it because I decided I wanted to have all of the pictures be hand drawings, but I really didn't want to get rid of this one, so I decided to colour it in and have it as a little bonus. So day one, Cozy Witch was actually this one of a witch holding a nice warm cup of tea or coffee, or maybe hot chocolate, with witch's brew on the cup. I'm really happy with how the colouring of the hands, the tattoos turned out, that kind of faded blue-black ink that tattoos often turn. So day two was Dark Occult Witch. I wish I'd done this one bigger. I found when I drew smaller hands like this, I wasn't able to get as much detail of the fingers as I wanted. I am really happy with how the it's like gold embellishment of the gel pens worked on the bracelets and the smoke or fire coming off the goblet. The purple fading to black ink didn't super work on these ones, but I tried it again on a bigger picture of a hand and was much happier with the results. The next day was Sea Witch. I wanted to capture a witch holding an orb that has an element from the sea in it, so seawater with a wave and a whale. I was trying to look at the shape of a hand and exaggerate the shapes and angles of the joints. I don't think it super worked in this one, but this was very near the beginning of the month that I sketched this one out, so I definitely think progress was made later on. The next day was Kitchen Witch, and I really wanted to capture a witch holding up a wooden spoon full of stew or maybe a potion, and when you cup your hand underneath it to make sure there's no drips. I was really struggling to get this bottom hand right, and then I ended up asking my wife to hold a spoon in a similar position and realised that I'd completely got the angle of the hand wrong. I think I was cupping it forwards instead of underneath like that. So using someone to be a hand model for me for this one was really, really helpful. This day was Love Witch. I really don't like the romanticization of love potions, so I knew I didn't want to go down that road for this one. So I decided to do a pair of queer witches who are in love, just linking pinkies. I tried to do the bisexual and the lesbian flags for their rings. Not sure the lesbian one worked out quite right, but I'm happy with the bisexual one. And I actually really like the shapes of the hands I managed on this one. The slight, I don't know what it's called, where the bone of the wrist sticks out, and the shapes of the thumbs and the fingers, I think, turned out really well. This was actually one of my favourites for the month. The next day was Nature Witch, and I wanted to depict someone holding 2 handfuls of earth with a seedling growing out of it. It on its own didn't look super magic, so any picture that I'd done where I felt like it wasn't clear that it was a witch involved, I just added some sparkles with alcohol ink and a gold gel pen. Again, I'm really happy with the shapes of these hands. I think the overall shape of the picture is really nice. The next day was Tarot Witch. So I wanted to draw the witch holding a tarot card. Again, I really enjoyed designing the card. this one was very simplified down because of the size of it. And again, with the hand, the thumb shape is not quite right, but I like the shape of the rest of it. And I'm really happy with this colour scheme I chose here, with the slightly yellowish gold and the pale hand being a complementary colour to the purple of the card and the very, very dark purple of the nails. I think it's a really nice combination. The next day was Gem Witch, and I wanted to draw a witch holding a magic wand that was embedded with gems, probably amethysts with the colour I went for. I tried to draw henna on this witch's hand. I think I chose the wrong colour and also maybe should have gone for a gel pen as opposed to the bullet tip from the alcohol markers that I was using. I think the henna is kind of lost within this, and I think it kind of just spread. I think it looks good on the fingers though. Again, I kind of wished I'd drawn this hand larger, but I do really like the shape that I've captured in the wand. This day was Mushroom Witch. This was actually, when I sketched this one out, this was the deciding factor for changing my whole idea for the month and moving to hand drawings, because I just really loved this one. I loved the shape of the hand, the shape and angles that I got in the staff, and drawing out the little moss and mushroom details, and the little mushroom tattoos. I just really enjoyed this day. I enjoyed colouring it in, and I really want to make this into a sticker because I'm really proud of this piece. Oh, my voice is getting very croaky. I'm sorry, that means my fatigue is getting bad. So I will carry on and hope for the best at this point, I think. The next day was Animal Witch, and I had a look on Pinterest. A lot of these drawings are taken from Pinterest, but then changed. So I've maybe taken the shape of someone's hand and then the shape of a different snake, coloured it differently, and done different designs for the nails, tattoos, that sort of a thing. I really enjoyed the shapes that I captured again with this kind of finding angles in a shape that should be quite smooth and round is something that I like, and I have done that a little bit with the thumb here as well. Again, I'm annoyed that I used the bullet tip of one of the alcohol markers for the tattoo. I think a finer detail on the pentacle would have been better. But other than that, I really, really like this piece again. This day was Struggling Witch, and I really wanted to capture that moment when you come out of a shop and you probably bought too much and you just have all of this shopping and bags in your hands and you're trying desperately not to drop it all. I like the shape that I captured of the bag, and I think the shadows worked really well to make it look like it's a bag that's full and bulging. I enjoy the things poking out of the top. This is, I think I was trying with purples and greys to find the shadows of the hands, and I quite like this. There's something in the colour here that I enjoy, but as I said in my last video where I went through in more detail the actual drawing and colouring of these, just I don't feel like I got the colouring of the shadows quite right on these hands. Also, just ignore the fact that it looks like at least one of these fingers is broken. Again, smaller hands just seem to be harder to draw than bigger ones. The next day was Candle Witch, and I found this gorgeous picture on Pinterest of somebody holding, I think it was like 4 or 5 candles that were lit, and decided I had to do that one. But slightly fewer candles for this witch to hold. I enjoyed not doing ink work for the flames, a little bit like on day 2 with the smoke or the fire not having line work and just being set apart from the rest of the picture as being made of something else, being kind of more translucent, and then just being able to see a little bit of the finger through. I also like the purple. Okay, I really like purple, as you may tell from many of these pictures having purple in it, and I don't know if I enjoy it just because it's got purple in, or because I've again tried to play with the complementary colours of the yellows and the purples, making each other pop. Again, I think if I make these into stickers, which I would quite like to do for some of them, definitely not all 30, this is one I would quite like to make into a sticker. This next picture was Modern Witch, and I enjoyed the idea of somebody moving from having a big physical tome of a grimoire to an app on their phone where they can flick through and find the things they want a little bit easier. The next day was Flower Witch. Again, didn't feel like it was super magical looking, so many sparkles added. I'm really happy with how both the flower turned out and the rings. I'm not sure the color choice of the two. I feel like they're too close, but also don't match. So I maybe would have liked to have gone for a different color for the rings. There's just something, I don't know. The rose gives me big Disney vibes, possibly Beauty and the Beast in this one. The next day was Young Witch. I think this was the first time that I have ever drawn a toddler's hand before, and it was quite a challenge trying to get the short stubbiness and roundedness of the fingers and the hand. Hopefully I have captured that. I've just spotted a bit where I've not coloured in their fingernails. I will need to go back and do that. Next day was Fey Witch. This was the one I was telling you about where I fade from purple to a darker purple to a black, and I think it turned out much better in this one. This is also one where you can see a little bit better the mottling from the alcohol markers. I think it works in this picture, but this is definitely something I struggled with in this series, is where I have a larger area to cover. I don't know if it's the alcohol markers, I think it's probably the paper, because this isn't designed for using alcohol markers on, just seems to take the ink unevenly and make it look really patchy, despite having several layers over it. But other than that, I love the shape, I like the otherworldliness of the sharp nails coming out of the fingers. The next day was Beauty Witch, and I really wanted to draw a witch holding a beauty elixir. I really liked the gorgeous tealy turquoisey colours that I found. I think this was within the Ohuhu markers. And then I added a little bit of, I think it was gel pen through the potion to make it look like it was shimmering or that there was something moving within it. Medieval Witch, I had such a hard time deciding what to draw for this one, because it was really hard to find something that a witch could be holding in their hand that made them look medieval. But in the end, I think one of my friends suggested them holding a dagger or an athame and having these gorgeous, big, swoopy sleeves. I really like the hand shapes in these, despite them being smaller. I feel like it looks like they're actually grasping the dagger, and I really enjoyed drawing the dagger as well. This day was Goth Witch, and I think this is up there with my favourites as well. This and Love Witch, I think, are my two favourites, and if stickers happen, this will definitely be one of those. I really wanted to try and capture a fine lace glove where you knew that the lace was black, but also you can see the skin colour through the lace. I then chose dark blue for the nails and the jewellery and the potion, but I added black within the centre of the potion, I think, just to try and shade it that little bit darker and show the difference between the nails and the potion. And I feel like the potion bottle turned out right. I really like all of the shapes that I've captured, the wrinkles within the glove, the frill, the darker shapes within the glove. I really, really, really love this one. Okay, this day was Bookworm Witch, which I was really looking forward to because I absolutely adore books, and I did really love this. I enjoyed creating a stack of books that were being held against the witch's chest, and I think the hands didn't turn out too bad. This hand is strangely long, but if we ignore that, it's generally okay, just my studio falling apart. I'm generally quite happy with it. However, I realised that this book should go down here and end probably about here. So there is actually a line missing. And it's kind of upsetting that I have noticed this error and now I can't not share this error with everyone. If I redraw some of these, which I've been thinking of doing on a Bristol board or paper that's made more for alcohol markers, I think this is going to have to be on the list for a redraw just so I can fix it and not have this weird missing part of a book. I'm really happy again with my colour choices here as well, with the light blue for the embellishment on the books and the nails and the jewellery. I think that turned out really well. And I liked how the books feel like they fit in with the darker skin tone within the palette of that. And then the blue really pops out of those earthy colours. Chaos Witch was very fun to draw, less fun to colour in, to make sure that all of the hands have the same colouring, and figuring out how to pull the whole thing together, which ended up being all of these many sparkles. But I just really enjoyed this idea of someone who is embracing the chaos of having so many different hobbies or parts of their craft. They make potions, they're a candle witch, they're reading from their book, they have a staff, all of these different things, which, if any of you are also ADHD artists and crafters out there, you may feel some level of, words are failing me, some level of similarity with. As if you if you follow me here on YouTube, you will also see that I have many different hobbies that I just kind of mush together under arts and crafts. So yes, I feel like this day had big me vibes. The next day was Teacher Witch, and I really loved a picture that I found of a small child's hand holding an adult's finger. I think I may have over inked this piece and got to the point where I couldn't actually add any more shadows on either of the hands, because I think that the paper was just saturated with ink. So I don't think it's the best inking job, but I do like the richness of the brown in the adult hand. I think for some reason the child's hand now looks like it's got a strange grey tone to it. But I still love the idea of it, and that thought that teachers should be guiding us. They're there to hold our hands and help us find our way, find our knowledge. The next day was Sleepy Witch, and I very much wanted to do a picture of a witch who has fallen asleep, possibly while reading a book. Possibly off screen is a ton of books and papers that they've been going through. And I really like how I've captured the top of the head and the shoulders and the sleeves. One thing I've been trying to work on in the art class that I attend is clothing and the wrinkles and folds and shapes and shadows. And I think I've caught that well here. And I'm really happy with the colouring of her hair as well that I did. Next day was Astrology Witch, and one of my friends actually suggested having a witch drawing out possibly some kind of astrology chart. Hands up, I know absolutely nothing about astrology, so please don't look at this and say, that's not how you draw an astrology chart. I have no idea. But I enjoyed drawing the dip pen and the little bottle of ink using a metallic gel pen to make the nib. There were a few mistakes that I've covered up with a white gel pen and then tried to colour over, which I'm happy enough with. But this was quite a fun day to draw. And again, I liked the pink and the turquoise kind of popping out of the picture. This day was Third Eye Witch, and I'd originally planned to draw the eye on the palm of a hand, but my wife actually suggested having the eye coming out of thin air, maybe out of light, within the triangle of two palms held out like that. And I thought it was a really good idea. I really like this piece. I wish the hands looked a bit more similar. For my eye, I feel like they look like two different people's hands, which wasn't the intention. I also feel like the fingers are different thicknesses, which is a little bit weird. But I also think that drawing palms of hands and hands in that view can sometimes look a bit strange. God, I feel like the more you look at hands, the more weird and alien they end up looking. But yes, generally quite happy with this. And I really love how the eye turned out. This next day was Farmer Witch, and I wanted this Farmer Witch to have their hands on a fork or spade, and there to be runes on it. I think the runes I chose mean harvest, peace and rewards, fertility and growth, home and plenty, and sun, strength, energy, health, and success, which feels like a nice combination for a farmer. And I'm sad that I got to this point and remembered that I really wanted to draw some witches with freckles on. So our farmer witch has some freckles, which feels right, because if they're out in the sun, I feel like that brings out more freckles on freckly people. I also added the green of the gel pen to try and make it look like the runes were glowing a little bit. This day was Cat Lady Witch, and I had to draw a cat in a witch's hat. That was just a must for this session, for this series. And I was really happy when I found a picture of someone holding a kitten in this picture. So I was able to dress them in a little witch's hat. The original picture of this that I posted on Instagram had the hand skin color and the orange of the cat looking very similar in tone, so it was hard to differentiate the two. So I came back in and darkened the hands and then added more texture to the fur as well. And I'm really glad that I came back in and did that, because I think it makes it a much better piece. The next day is Tattoo Witch. I was really looking forward to this one. I love tattoos, and just couldn't wait to draw just lots of different tattoos on a hand. This, I still use the bullet nib of an alcohol marker for this, even though I didn't think it looked great in previous ones, but I think it works quite well with this one, possibly because the hands are a bit bigger. I enjoyed the shapes that I captured of the hands, and using the colour of whatever magic is happening in the middle, just on the inside of the hands and the fingers to make it look like there is a glow. Next day was Travel Witch. Again, I wasn't sure what to draw with this one. I was playing with the idea of suitcases and big old books wrapped in leather to have handles on. And then I decided to draw another orb with a witch's hands around it, possibly looking for where the next holiday is going to be. Again, it's not round, but it's okay. I can live with that. I'm not sure this is completely accurate of the spaces between your fingers, but I think it turned out pretty well, and I think it reads as two hands around an orb, so yes, that one is fine. And then the final one was Pumpkin Witch, and I just wanted to draw this picture of a hand holding a pumpkin which had been carved with a skull. Not my favourite one. I'm a little bit sad that this is the last day of the month. I don't think the hand shape is super good, and I'm a little bit annoyed that the skin colour is, again, a similar tone to the pumpkin, making it harder to differentiate the two. I also went with a random brown colour as the shadows of the hand, which is different to what I've done in all of the others. But I think by that point I was very tired and very much wanted it to be finished. So that is the end. And we're back to day one. I was thinking of saving this for next year to fill it with October challenge ones, but once we've taken out the test pages, I don't actually have a whole lot of pages in here. I don't think we'll hold a full Inktober, a full October challenge, especially if I continue the thing of planning out on the left-hand page and then final piece on the right. There's 15 pages left. I wonder if I should do a different kind of challenge and maybe only pick 15 prompts to do. I think I don't want to use this one again for my October challenge next year, because I dislike the sketchbook. There's nothing wrong with it as a sketchbook. It's just, it's very small and I want to draw bigger than this, and I don't think that this is the right paper to have used, particularly for alcohol markers. It also wasn't great for Poscas last year either. I think it's like a mixed media paper, and it kind of pilled up with the Poscas. So that is the tour of my Witchtober pictures for this year. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and possibly a nap and try and regain my voice. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out my old videos of last year's tour and the video showing you the progress of making these pictures this year. And I will see you soon. Bye.